Hello, you'll find a very interesting article here from Time magazine. Those who are running for the presidential candidacy are wanting to tie themselves in with the Pope's visitation and with his vision for the world. Of course, on environmental issues, on issues of the family, by which he can bring in his mark or his authority. So it says that a couple of decades ago with JFK, he had to separate himself from the papacy in that his presidency would not be influenced by his Catholic background. Now the very opposite is the case. Those who are going for the presidency want to tie themselves in with the issues that this popular Pope is putting forward. And it tells us here that times have changed. We now have, in the USA, Vice President, 6 Catholic Supreme Court justices, a Catholic Speaker of the House, and a large number of Catholics in Congress, and it talks of it as a golden age of Catholicism in America. Politics has arrived at this time, and this would have been unimaginable several decades ago. So we have the ascendancy of Catholics to the forefront of American politics, which has only been accelerated by a groundbreaking papacy of Francis, which is quite amazing and surprising, really. But it's because Protestantism has changed its ideas towards the papacy and has forgotten its founders and what united them, which was that the papacy was Antichrist. This is what united the reformers. So we have today Protestantism takes on a different role. The words of Hitler were that we should unite Catholics and Protestants and get rid of anything that was anti-Christian. Now there's a polarization occurring with the threat of Muslim terrorism. And so you can see how this can have an effect to bring power to the papacy and an image to the beast. So image of the beast is reflecting that which the papacy did before it. That was a persecuting power to get rid of heretics. And so the Jesuits were in charge of the Inquisition. They took over from the Dominicans. They were in charge of the Inquisition. They were involved in assassinations. They were involved in the persecution. They would re-educate. They would bring countries like Germany back to the papacy, and so you can see its role in the UN today. Politicians and candidates are likely scheming how they can best utilise the Pontiff's first visit to the US. So that's in September 24, and it will be a very unique, a first for a Pope to address lawmakers in Congress. So they'll be listening carefully to see how they can use his ideas. And this is a change of occurrence that fits in well with what we see in Revelation 13, 2 beasts, hegemony, spoken of in certain places. If you look carefully enough, the hegemony of the papacy and of the USA, and here you can see it forming by the ideas and the acceptance of the USA to the papacy at this point of time. It says in Revelation 13 about that beast, conglomerate beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And then there was that other beast. It had lamb-like characteristics. It had lamb-like horns, representing Protestantism and republicanism, the foundation of this country, the USA. And it came from vacancy, from the earth, whereas the papal power come from the sea, representing nations and peoples. So we have the two that will come together to unite. And that lamb-like beast will make an image to that first beast, which was and which was not, and will cause them to worship that first beast, and will be a persecuting power that can cause fire to come down in the sight of men and he will be the one to implement the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast concerns the papacy, and it will be enforcing that mark. Who will be enforcing that mark? That lamb-like beast. So we have predictions coming true here. At this very point of time, because it is the end of time, and we are to expect these things, but we can have faith in the Word of God being true. Protestants have tampered with and patronised Popery. They have made compromises and concessions which papists themselves are surprised to see and fail to understand. Men are closing their eyes to the real character of Romanism and the dangers to be apprehended from her supremacy. Why would they not see the dangers? They've lost their roots from where the reformers come from, what Protestantism was about. They've imbued the ideas of Jesuitism, the teachings, the religious teachings and doctrines, such as the rapture teaching. They don't have a clear view of these things anymore, and their foundation has moved. The people need to be aroused to resist the advances of the most dangerous foe to civil and religious liberty. Well, how so? Because church and state were united, and the church used the civil power to deal out its punishments. This is the time that is coming around now again, as there is a movement towards church and state. There's polarization with terrorism causing a change in laws and those things concerning civil liberties. So we have this time in which the deadly wound is healed, the mark of the beast will be enforced, and no one can buy and sell unless they receive the mark of his name.